I've been trading for the past 5 years and I'm giving you my exact trading strategy where I first started seeing results after grinding this game for so long. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about their strategy and I want to give you guys some ideas of what sticked with my head after trading for so long. You know, when I first stumbled across trading, my idea was to learn as much as I can. So I consumed a lot of content on trading and eventually I learned about a lot of strategies. And the key here is that I learned about support and resistance and pretty much supply and demand as well as liquidity based trading. So I had all of these strategies and trendline trading strategies and a lot of more. But eventually when I came to the real market and looked at the charts, I was so confused that I couldn't take an entry because one strategy told me to go long right here and the other one told me to go short. So eventually, if you learn a lot about trading, this is a problem I think most of you guys have. You don't know what to trade anymore and where to trade and what to do when you come to the real market after seeing a lot of content on trading. And this is where I went a step back. So I reflected and think to myself, wait, I'm doing something wrong here. If I go to the markets and I'm that confused, I'm definitely doing something wrong. So I doubled down on one specific strategy and learned it to the T. And that for me was supply and demand trading. It was a simple concept that back in the day made a lot of sense to me and still does to this very day. And it's the strategy that helped me generating my first trading profits. And I even passed trading evaluations grinding with this strategy. And eventually when you guys pick one strategy, you will see results faster. And eventually when you guys stick to one strategy, you can build trust in one system. You gain knowledge of one system only. And when you look back and journal your trades, you can see the real results of your very own trading strategy. So for me, that is over a 74% win rate after around about 300 trades taken. And I would say a 70% win rate with a risk to reward of 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2 is very good. Because right here you will only need a 50% win rate to be profitable. And as you can see, based on the math, I'm profitable, right? So the strategy system itself is profitable. So after talking about why it makes sense to go into trading with one strategy and dialing down on it, I want to give you guys the exact steps I do when I come to the market every day. And this is a simple step-by-step list you guys can follow when you come to the markets as well, in order to make your first profits or get a first idea of how this whole game works. So I start the day off by looking for news. So I check news and I do this on a website called Forex Factory. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, that's just the website I use. So I will check news and if there's any red folder near my trading entry, let's say for example 13 o'clock is right here and I see a setup right at this time. So when I see a red folder coming up near anywhere in the near future, I will simply not take a trade just because of high fluctuations, especially when you trade on the lower time frames. If you're a swing trader, this might not affect you as much, but if you're trading on the lower time frames like me on the 5-minute, you should definitely look into news before you start trading. So this is the first step. After I know my news for the day, it's very simple. If I know I don't have any news, I look for an aggressive move with a break of structure. So I look for aggressive moves. What do I mean by aggressive moves? As you can see right here, the market is pretty much ranging in one direction. Right here on the Nasdaq. You can see simply one direction. The market isn't doing much for this time of period and it's doing this for a whole 2.5 hours, right? And after this 2.5 hours, you can see that the market is printing big green candles right here. A big and strong move to the upside, breaking the previous highs that we had in the market right here. So if we delete this, you can see that we actually broke structure right here. And this is for me, when I see a break of structure, this is another thing I need to see, right? A break of structure. So do we have a break of structure, or BOS in short, right? Do we have a break of structure? Look for an aggressive move. You don't need to look at the markets and be like, what is this? Is this an aggressive move because we have a green here candle right here? No, Timmy, it's not. It's not an aggressive move. If you're not sure, it's an aggressive move, right? So, for example, right here, you can see all you see is green candles. I can sit a toddler in front of this chart and he would know like where the market is going up. So it's so simple. Mark out the zone, Boom, and you can see it tapping right into it. It's so simple. So do we have a break of structure? Yes or no? Do we have a break of structure back here at this zone? Yes or no? Yes, we do have a break of structure, at least multiple break of structures. So it's very easy. Do we have break of structures right here? Yes, we do. So we mark out the zone. This is the very next step. For mark out your supply and demand zone. So for those of you guys who don't follow my TikTok channel with over 200,000 subscribers, where I teach basically every concept I know, a supply and demand zone is basically a simple term. So for a demand zone, it is the last red candle before a strong move to the upside occurred. That's how I mark them out personally. So the last red candle, and for the supply zone, it's the last green candle before a strong move to the downside occurred. So the way I mark this out is for a supply zone and for a demand zone, we need a break of structure. And as you can see, we have a break of structure right here. The market is clearly breaking structure. So I mark out the zone and wait for price to come back into the zone. And once we see a candlestick pattern right at the zone, I enter my trade with my stop loss above the zone and my take profit at the previous pivot point, usually aiming for a 1-to-2 or 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And for the demand zone, it's the same thing. We see a break of structure, we mark out the zone, we wait for price to come back, and entry after price hit the zone. So that's basically a demand zone, and that's a supply zone, and that's a demand zone. Simple, it's simple as that. So after doing these 4 steps, there is one more thing I do before the price is returning to the zone, and that is looking for a fair value gap. Look for a fair value gap. So what is a fair value gap? I have a video on this specifically on my channel. It's in fact the first video I ever posted on this channel with over 600 views. So go and check this out if you want to learn fair value gaps in depth. But it's essentially a gap in the market, like right here. You can see the previous high of this candle and the last low of the third candle is building a simple gap right here. And that's basically what I want to see right after the zone is forming. And as you can see, we have a fair value gap right here. I'm not going in depth for fair value gaps right now because it's a very usual concept and I don't want to make this video so long for you guys. So the people who know and who want to know fair value gaps can check out my first video. So after I've done this 5 steps each and every day, the only thing we need to entry is to wait for a candlestick pattern. And if you want an in-depth guide on candlestick patterns, let me know in the comments down below and I make sure I cover every candlestick pattern I know in order to take a trade. Or you can also entry aggressively. So for very strong zones, I like to put a limit order right here. A limit order is basically when the market comes down to this specific price range, my order gets filled instantly and I don't even need to look at the market. So as you can see, if you would have gone in with a limit order, you can even do your stop loss below this low right here to be more safe. If you would have went in with a limit order, you can see this was a nice win. But for the candlestick pattern, this is actually a hammer candle. So I will entry at the high of this candle and target anywhere in the range of the previous pivot points of the market or simply just a fixed 1-to-2. And as you can see right here, this would be a nice win. And right here on the other zone, this would actually be a nice win as well because we have a tweezer bottom right here and we can actually mark this out and entry right there. So this is my trading strategy. I know it's very simple after trading in the market for so long, but it's essentially what helped me finally getting back on track with my own trading and reflecting and actually seeing results. So I recommend you guys try the strategy out, even if you trade it on a demo or on paper trading. Just try the strategy for 1 month and maybe you will thank me, maybe it's not for you, but maybe if you give it a try and you actually see results just like me, it could change your trading game forever, right? So I wish you guys a very nice day and keep grinding, keep learning and leave a follow if you learned something from this video. So yeah, stay healthy and I wish you guys the best and we see us again in the next video.